we'd been taking a lot of trips every year to East Asia. And then when COVID happened, our hearts really broke. A lot of us that were a part of those trips for a long time, we mourned. But then as COVID began to linger, we started to realize that maybe it was going to be more than just a year before we could go back to East Asia. But God really changed our perspective. And so we just started praying about how can we reach the people that are right here in the mission field that we can get to without having to get on a plane.
I serve in my local church, but after several years, I just felt called by God for full-time ministry. In winter 2020, I called a friend of mine. I used to be a missionary in China, and through him, I was connected with the church in Mu.
So we heard about a Chinese Bible study that was happening at another church in Horry County, down in the Myrtle Beach area. And then when you look around, there are Chinese restaurants, Chinese population everywhere. So we began to look at how this Chinese population was growing in Horry County and how many people there really were that we were honestly not even paying attention to. These people wanted desperately a church in their own heart language, a church where they would hear preaching and hear the gospel in Chinese. To think that we could impact the Chinese culture in our own backyard was something we were incredibly excited about.
So when I was studying the seminary, a Chinese pastor who worked in the NAB, he called me. He said that there's the church planting opportunity in the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I said, I need to pray. So after my prayer, so God moved my heart, and I feel if there is a group of Chinese people, they need gospel, they need church, I should go there because the harvest is ready, but the workers are few.
I was invited to come to the Spartanburg to meet them, and also to meet the only Chinese family in this church. So I met them, and that family just cried. They had been attended the church for several years, but the problem is no one can use their heart language to teach them, to help them.
So we got involved with the Chinese church there in Horry County with when Tao was brought in by the START team and the SEND team here at the convention for a visit, just to see if this was something that he would want to do, to plant a church in Horry County.
We give thanks to God because God put us together for the purpose to glorify God's name. So actually when I came here, the Living Water Baptist Church, they really like to help us and to help the Chinese group, Chinese church, to let the Chinese Christian have the spiritual home. We worship God, use our own language, and we worship God based on our culture.
You know, one of the most important moments in our time is the migration of peoples around the world. God has brought the nations to our own backyard, and we have known that there are over 250,000 foreign-born in South Carolina. Many are coming from unreached, unengaged people groups. They're Chinese, they're Muslims, they're Hindus, they're people from all over the world. And so through our Finish initiative at the South Carolina Baptist Convention, we're serving our South Carolina Baptist churches in helping them become aware of this tremendous opportunity to do our part in fulfilling the Great Commission right here in our own backyard. We just see a day when every life is saturated and transformed by the hope of the gospel, beginning right here in South Carolina, but extending to the ends of the earth.